Today is the 15th anniversary of a disappearance that touched off the most intense manhunt in the city's history. On June 7, 1962, a fifth grader at the Immaculate Conception School in Bloomfield vanished, and no trace of the youngster has ever been found.
Her disappearance turned into a sensational story in Pittsburgh, marking one of the most infamous missing person cases the city has ever seen. For several months, it seemed to absorb the focus of the entire police force. It was a balmy June afternoon in 1962 when the children at Immaculate Conception School were dismissed for their summer vacation at lunchtime. Situated in the Bloomfield neighborhood of Pittsburgh, affectionately known as Little Italy, numerous students made their way along Liberty Avenue, passing by family-owned Italian grocery stores, bustling, smoky bars, and quaint boutique shops. Marianne Verdecchia, a fifth grader, stood out as one of those students. At the tender age of 10, she had already cultivated a strong sense of independence. After her parents abandoned her at 5, she had been living with her aunt, Ruth M. Riley, in Bloomfield for the last 5 years. After school, Marianne made her way home to change out of her uniform. Once she arrived, she pulled her dark brown hair back into a ponytail, donned a pair of red shorts along with a white blouse, and put on her white tennis shoes. She then told her aunt that she was going outside to play. Marianne then walked over to Mrs. Shirley Gorman's residence. She enjoyed a close friendship with Mrs. Gorman's children, Sandra and Timothy. It was rumored that Marianne had a soft spot for Timothy. In fact, the blouse she was wearing that day had been given to her by Sandra. When Mrs. Gorman opened the door, she was greeted by Mary. She mentioned to Mary that she had a headache and requested that she come back another day. Mary then walked away. Remembering that the Art Linkletter show aired a few minutes later, Mrs. Gorman set the time for just before 2:30 p.m. Mrs. Gorman was the final individual to encounter Marianne in their neighborhood. Following this, Marianne traveled down Baum Boulevard to the Martinique Apartments to visit her previous neighbor, Jean Emery, and her beloved cot. Jean asked Marianne for a favor, needing help with some errands because she had run out of cot food. She gave Marianne some money to buy more at the nearby store. Marianne went to the grocery store, got the cot food for Jean, and then headed back to Martinique Apartments. The final verified sighting of Marianne occurred when William Dozer, the building manager of Martinique, informed her that Jean was not home. He reported to the police that he saw Marianne cross Baum Boulevard at approximately 3 p.m. as she made her way home. This is said to be the last instance of Marianne being seen. At 6 p.m., when she was still missing from her aunt's house, her family chose to wait up, believing she might be late but still close by. After an unsuccessful search for her, they contacted the Pittsburgh police at 10:30 p.m. for assistance. According to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, what followed was the most extensive manhunt in Pittsburgh's history. Law enforcement thoroughly searched Lorgan Hollow beneath the Millvale Avenue Bridge and explored Shenley, Highland and Frick parks, but they were unable to find any trace of the child. At the time, Therese Rocco served as head of Pittsburgh's Missing Persons Bureau and initially thought that Mary Ann's parents had come back to the city to take her. Eventually, law enforcement tracked down both Marilyn Riley and Joseph Verdecchia, who passed their lie detector tests and stated that they had no idea where Mary Ann was. Mary Ann's mother and father had separated. Marilyn, 29, lived in Chicago, where she worked as a waitress and checked in on Mary twice a year with a phone call. Her father, Joseph, 35, was thought to be an alcoholic and frequently found himself in jail. He was an unemployed steelworker residing close by. It had been 5 years since either of them had seen Mary. A few days after she went missing, a bracelet which is believed to have belonged to her was located at the entrance of the Highland Park Zoo. However, a thorough search yielded no further evidence of her presence. Officials are unclear whether the jewelry is related to her disappearance, as she might have lost it before she went missing. Mrs. Riley recognized the bracelet as Mary's, but considering the zoo's distance, it is possible she dropped it during her last trip there. It was not until 1991, nearly 30 years after the incident, that the case experienced a major breakthrough. An unidentified man, now 38 years old, contacted law enforcement to share details about an assault and murder he had witnessed as a child. In June 1962, he reported seeing a Presbyterian minister from Baldwin kill a young girl. During that period, Mary Ann was the only person reported missing in the Pittsburgh area. Law enforcement searched the area identified by the witness as the murder site, but uncovered nothing but animal bones. The suspect had since moved to Seattle, Washington, where he continued to assert his innocence. No charges were ever filed. The trail went cold. Interestingly, another disappearance was noted at the Martinique Apartments. In 1959, 3 years before Mary Ann went missing, Marcella Crochet, a 30-year-old secretary from Pittsburgh, was last spotted dining at the restaurant linked to her apartment complex, where she resided during the week. When she did not report to work, her absence was reported to the authorities, who subsequently searched her apartment. As an insulin-dependent diabetic, it was concerning that her insulin and other belongings were found untouched in her residence. This case, too, remains a mystery. The police often speculated about a possible connection between the two cases. Thomas Linnane, born 3 years after Mary Ann, is her half-brother. He made a promise to his mother to become a police officer and uncover the truth about Mary's disappearance. Although he is now retired, he continues to search for her. In 1983, Mary Ann's mother passed away, and her father and aunt are no longer living as well. Mary Ann's case raises suspicions of foul play, and her disappearance is still shrouded in mystery. Investigators are diligently pursuing leads, keeping her case open. If you possess any information about Mary Ann Verdecchia's disappearance, her case number with the Pittsburgh Police Bureau is 62744, and they can be reached at 412-323-7800.